Hey guys, Amateur Collector Plus One here, and what I'd like to do today is a review of the EONE Bradley. I've had the EONE Bradley for about 3 weeks now. I posted the unboxing video, so I'm not going to get too much into the background or the backstory really to the Bradley, except to say that it does have a really interesting story, and if it's something that you're interested in knowing, there's several videos out on YouTube that cover that already, and I cover it in the beginning section of the EONE Bradley unboxing video. So I'm not really gonna kind of regurgitate that again. But so in terms of the Bradley, I've had it for about 3 weeks now, so I've had a chance to kind of wear it. So I wanted to take the time to put a review out for anyone that might be thinking about getting one, either just because it's a really cool piece and it does have such a cool background story. I mean, being designed to be a watch that could be used by the blind. But the watch itself, so this one is they're all titanium cases, which is the same as this one. This particular model is a little bit different because it's black versus just the regular titanium, which is your other option. But the case itself is 40 millimeters diameter, and it's 11.5 millimeters thick. So you can kind of see there. So it's a very nice size. I think they'd have a hard time accomplishing their objective in you being able to tell the time without looking at it if it were any smaller. So I think the size is appropriate for what they were trying to do. You have the 2 metal ball bearings here, the one on the inside that's giving you the minute, and when it does come off, you can just kind of shift it so it goes back into place, and then you've got your hour hand that tells you there on the outside, and it's the same with that. You just kind of turn it to get it back into place. Now, the dial is obviously very unique and different than any of the other watches that you'd be looking at because it doesn't have a crystal on it. So the way that it's designed is for you to be able to feel the hour markers to help you tell the time without looking at it. Now, the one thing that I will say about that is it does feel like your 4 cardinal hour markers, if you will, your 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Those aren't raised significantly higher than the other ones. The only one that really has a distinct difference in the feel of it is the 12 o'clock, which has the triangular raised portion of it. But your 3 o'clock, your 9 o'clock, and your 6 o'clock, although the length of them is a little bit longer than the other hours, it doesn't seem significant enough to be able to tell right off the bat just by touching it, aside from its position on the dial. So I think that could probably have been done, just something a little more to distinguish those cardinal hour markers from the others, aside from just the 12. The crown, pretty standard. It's very, very small, but it gets done what you need to do. So you would just pull that out and set it like you would any other watch. As you turn it, just get it so you can see both of them. You've got the interior ball bearing, which is the minutes shifting around, and then the one on the outside marking the hours shifting until you get it kind of to the time that's appropriate. Now, it does have Swiss parts, so that's pretty nice. It is a Swiss quartz movement inside, which is also nice. In terms of telling time, just looking at it, it's not hard to do once you can get used to the hour marker being the ball bearing on the outside and the minute marker being the ball bearing on the inside. But what you might find a little difficult is maybe to kind of tell the minutes between that 5 minute span between some of the raised markers. I have noted that you can kind of set it to where it makes it easier, where maybe the leading edge of the ball marks the minute versus the middle of the ball marking the minute. Can kind of make it a little bit easier to gauge the time. Now, I did prefer the black plated titanium case, but there's obviously a downside to that. Titanium, especially when it's plated, is gonna scratch pretty easily, which will end up showing the natural titanium color underneath. So in the times that I've worn this one, although I was pretty careful with it, I still did manage to get a nick kind of a scratch on the plating at the top here, as you can see there, which is kind of exposing the natural color of the titanium underneath. So maybe if you're a little harder on your watches, or you tend to bang them or hit them on different surfaces a lot, you might want to consider getting the regular titanium colored one versus the black one that's plated, because you will end up having several surfaces that, you know, expose the natural titanium color. It does kind of bother me when I look at it. Now that I know it's there, I do notice it quite a bit, but obviously, you know, really not a deal breaker at all. It does have additional straps that you can get with it, which is pretty nice. I mean, these are 20 millimeter straps that you can put on it. You have the black metal mesh strap that you can get for it, which is the one I got for it originally, but then I got the additional strap just to be able to accessorize a little bit, which is pretty nice. What I will say about this strap that to me is kind of a little bit of a miss on EONE's part is that since the initial model was the regular titanium colored Bradley, the buckle on the straps matches the same, just titanium coloring. So they don't have ones that are black plated for the black plated version of the Bradley, which to me is just, I mean, it still looks quite nice even with the difference, but I think it just kind of messes a little bit with the flow of it and bringing it all together. I think it would be nice if they eventually come out with straps that have the buckles on them that match, you know, the Bradley color itself that you decide to order. In terms of price range, they vary from $275 to $315. The more expensive one being the black plated one, and then the other price will vary depending on the strap that you get. The cheaper straps would be the canvas leather ones, like this crimson color one. The more expensive one, not by much. I mean, the straps themselves are $25, and then the metal mesh bands are $35. So there's not a significant price difference there. But with the black on black or the titanium on the titanium colored metal mesh band, it does all sink in to be the same color. So it is a Swiss quartz movement. It's regular battery operated. When the battery does run out, you could take it to any watchmaker to replace the battery on it. Now it does say that it is water resistant. That means, you know, you can't wash your hands with it on, but you don't want to submerge it. And it does also specifically mention not to do any kind of intense physical activity with it on. So I really don't have any complaints with it. I've really liked having it. It's really cool. It's very different. So, you know, in that sense, it's a bit of a novelty. For the price point, I don't think it's bad at all. I mean, when you consider what the background is for the watch in itself, to be able to tell the time, especially really for those that are visually impaired, but then for the rest of us, you can kind of look down and feel for the time. Once you get used to it, it does take a little bit of getting used to, but you would have the option to kind of reach down, feel your wrist to tell the time versus, you know, looking down maybe in the middle of a conversation, which can sometimes be pretty distracting or give the wrong impression, come across as rude. So it is something that you would be able to do with it. It might take, like I said, a little bit of getting used to, but I think for the price point, and just, you know, for the background story of the watch and the purpose of it, you know, it's well worth it. It does look very different to any standard watch, if for no other reason, the fact that it doesn't have a crystal on it. I think that stands out immediately when people look at it. When I have worn it, you know, I do kind of notice people looking down at my wrist, just because it does seem very different than any other standard watch that you'd be looking at. So all in all, I do think it's very cool. I certainly don't regret the purchase at all. But I think if it's something that you're thinking about getting, you know, you do want to keep in mind, if you want to get the one that's black plated, the fact that you can get those scratches on it, you know, and it is going to show. So if that's something that would drive you crazy, I might maybe stay away from the black plated one. You will also notice kind of the more that you handle it, you know, the oils in your fingers or your hands, you know, you'll kind of get this worn feel and look on the face of it where it's not, you know, even, which doesn't bother me at all. I think that kind of adds some character to it. You can obviously wash it, wipe it off some warm water. You don't want to submerge it. But you know, for the price range, $275 to $315, so I think it's well worth, you know, purchasing it if it's something that you're interested in. Yeah, absolutely. Is it going to take you a significant amount of time to get accustomed to where the ball bearings are? No, I don't think it will. It might take a little bit of guesswork when it's in between your 5-minute markers to know what time it is. So that can bother you. I have read people saying, or read comments where people say that the metal balls get dislodged pretty easily, but I haven't personally experienced them coming dislodged aside from when I'm playing with it or my kids are playing with it. And I haven't experienced yet, of course, it's been less than a month, the magnets getting weaker or anything like that. So maybe as I have it for a longer period of time, that's something that I might notice. But all in all, I think it's, for the reason that they designed it, it's pretty great, you know. So I've enjoyed it. If anybody has, you know, any questions or comments, or, you know, wants to know anything else about the watch, is thinking about picking up a Bradley and is wondering, you know, anything else about it, just post it below and I'll kind of get back to you. But yeah, that's it for the EONE Bradley review. So thanks for watching.